everyone that's watching the webinar, and I've already got Facebook Live happening as well. For those watching the webinar, thank you so much for taking the time, and if you're watching the replay as well, thank you so much. Now, if you are used to me being on at 8:30, I better tell you what's been going on. First of all, if you're watching the Facebook Live and you're wondering why I'm not looking directly at you, is because I do this webinar on Zoom and I record it. And if you've registered for it, then you actually get the link sent to you and you can watch it at your convenience, and you get to see the PowerPoints and stuff. So if you're actually watching on Facebook and you want to know a little bit more and want to see and have a bit of FOMO, then jump on to the registration link, and you can register for it, and you'll be able to see the replay, and you'll get all the PowerPoints, and you'll get to see the whole thing. So good morning, Stacey. Lovely to have you here. So I may as well explain why I'm half an hour late. One of the things before I go into the PowerPoint itself, and it's really appropriate that I'm talking about being a woman, right? That's this week's subject, is being a woman and connecting with the feminine. So for those that don't know, I have moved to Sydney. I was going to say I've had to move to Sydney. Everyone's got a choice, and I've got a choice. Good morning, Irene. Thank you so much for everything that you've been doing for me. I've moved to Sydney, and I'm looking after my mother, who about a month ago had a heart attack. She was in hospital for 2 weeks, had 6 stents, came out, was home for a week, was admitted to hospital again. I had to ring the ambulance. It was very intense. They changed all her medication, and she came out on Saturday while I was doing a 3-day intensive. And Sunday, I came to trying to work out what on earth they'd given her as medication, because some of it was in blister packs and it was all different colours and blah, blah, blah. I won't go into the details. Anyway, this morning, she decided she was able to get up and go to the toilet, and she fell, and I can't pick her up by herself. And next thing, she was vomiting, and I had to ring the ambulance again, and she's back in hospital. So good morning, Diane. Lovely to have you on here. So I'm going to do a Facebook Live eventually about, please be patient with me. I feel like this is the start of a bit of a downhill decline for my mum, and I'm the primary caregiver, whatever. And so this is most probably going to affect my business, because it already has. And so I have 2 beautiful, amazing assistants that have got my back all the time, and they helped me, you know, see this as getting this rescheduled and answering messages and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to do a Facebook Live about that at a different time. So good morning, Raya. Let's jump into talking about what our subject is today. So our subject is being a woman, and that is really appropriate. Just so appropriate, right? So today's subject is about being a woman and connecting to the feminine. So let's begin, and I'll explain a little bit more. For those that have never been here before, and I know most of you have, so you most probably are a little bit sick of hearing who I am and why I'm doing this, but please bear with me, be patient. I am Elizabeth Eleanor, and I have been a remedial massage therapist for 20 odd years. I've been saying that for way too long. Became an energy healer and mentor about 18 years ago. Actually, the mentoring happened about 6 years ago, I would say. And then it really took full swing about 12 months ago, where I went online and I started working with people, women, way more seriously. And I created Women of Light Facebook group, which has just exploded. And we're just coming in September to our first anniversary. So everyone keep an eye on that page, because I'm very excited, and we'll be giving lots of We're going to be celebrating and lots of gifts and all that sort of stuff. So there's more to come, surprises galore. So I'm the only daughter in the family. So I've got two elder brothers, and there was another baby in between that was a stillborn, and he was a boy. And my mum went into a little bit of total depression about it. So there's actually about 6 or 7 years between me and my other two brothers. And one of them, I don't even remember being at home. He must have, I think he left when he was about 16. And so they are way more connected to each other than I am to them. Though they've had their differences, they're a bit like chalk and cheese. And so my dad died when I was 15, and my eldest brother sort of did his best to take his role. And so I've got a very strong connection with my oldest brother. However, my other brother, we don't have that deep connection. We're getting there because he's now got two boys, and things have really changed for us, right? However, I was the daughter. I was the woman in the house. My dad was sick. My mum was on always working. And so I didn't see much of her. And I was the person that cooked, cleaned, and looked after my dad. And I have taken that role on ever since. So since I was a little girl, I've been looking after people. I had about a year off when my two children lived in Far North Queensland for 17 years. And my kids moved to Sydney, and I had a whole year of just looking after a dog and a cat, and it was absolute bliss. And then my mum got sick, and I had to move to Sydney as well. And so here I am in a caregiving role again. Now, is this what a woman is designed for? I'm asking you. I'd love to hear your comments. Is this a woman's role? Is this what we're genetically made to be in our DNA? I'd love to hear and see your comments on that. So, being a woman. Now, there's a little bit of confusion these days about being a woman. And this is only my understanding from my own personal perspective, right? Yes, that is traditionally what is expected in my family. I think that we all, nurturing, right, Rebecca? I think we all grew up in that. And I'm going to give you some information that may give you a bit of clarity around that. Because, and as I was just about to say, this is my perspective and my opinion. So what you choose to believe or what you hear out in society, you know, is could be totally different. I can only give you what comes from my heart and from what my observation and assessment of life has been, right? So this is it. When in the 50s and 60s and 70s, there was a huge revolution for women, and it was needed because women were almost second-class citizens, like the indigenous of the world. Blacks were all considered as lower class than male white men, right? And so I don't know if you're aware of this, but in the 40s and 50s, I think, don't quote me on the times, if you, so you couldn't vote, which we all pretty much know that. But the other thing that a lot of people don't know is if your husband died, your children were legally given to his his brothers or his side of the family. You didn't have any legal rights to your own children. And so there was this big movement, and the feminist movement happened, and it exploded, and we got some rights put in place that we all now take for granted. And it was all needed, right? However, in this is my opinion again, right? From what I understand, my auntie has just turned up, so there's kids in the house now. From what I have understood and read and all that sort of stuff and observed myself, those women then had children, and their children didn't quite see the hardship that they went through, they just knew that they were fighting against a cause. So those children started being fighters and rallying towards being a woman that's got women's rights. And then the next generation did the same. So next generation, all of a sudden, we've got women fighting and protesting to get their rights, not knowing the hardship, or not quite, they might know, but they didn't quite understand the hardship of where we actually came from. So here we are all this time in the future, and women have been led to believe, through no fault of anyone, maybe you could go into conspiracy theories and say it was a societal ploy, maybe, I don't know, but you don't want to go down that rabbit hole, right? What's happened is, next things, girls can do it, we're just, equal rights, all of those things. And next thing, women have totally forgotten what they were designed to do, or how they were genetically created through, divine order. And next thing, they're trying to do everything. They're trying to lift weights just as much as a man does. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be presidents, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be in lawyers and doctors and all of those things. That's still just being an equal, right? I'm talking about women thinking that they can do absolutely everything, so they can take on all the roles that are in life, their role as a female and the role as a male as well. And so here they are, all the way here, totally stressed out, because they've still got their roles in, and I'm generalizing, okay? They've still got their roles of cooking, cleaning, nurturing, looking after the children, birthing the children, being the caregiver. But then they've also got the role of having a job, competing with others, being the first at this, and this, and really high achieving, like masculine sort of pushing and action taking. And so we've got a society of stressed out women that are getting more dis-ease because they're so stressed out, and a society of men that are going, where are we? What do we do? Like, they're confused, right? What's our role? And so they're becoming quite depressed. So what is feminism, or what is being feminine? So we all know, or we should know, that we actually have masculine and feminine energy in us. So they say the right side is our masculine and the left side is our feminine. Now, our brain actually goes the other way around. So our masculine is on the left side, and that's the logic structure side. And on the right side is the feminine flow and abstract. So there's actually a really good video, a YouTube, that I will see if I can put into the replay when I send the email, of a heart doctor who had a stroke, and it's called A Stroke of Insight. It's a female doctor, and it's amazing because she realized what was going on, and all of her masculine side was having a stroke, and she actually couldn't see numbers as numbers to ring up to get help. She could just see them as shapes, and she had to look at the business card and look at the numbers on the business card and the numbers on the phone and match them, because she couldn't see them as numbers because her masculine side had gone. I'll see if I can find it and place it into the Facebook Live as well. So feminism, or feminine energy, is all about flow, stillness, creativity. Is the abstract side of us, therefore the patterns. it's all about dance and play, and it's all about internal processing. So, you know, that goddess energy of being this beautiful light is more the feminine side than it is the masculine side. And so the masculine is the opposite of that. So masculine is pushing forward, is action, moving, and structure, so that you see numbers as numbers. It's that warrior energy. It's the progress and movement and taking external processing. So it's all about moving into expansion, right? And we need a balance of the two. So finding the balance in a world that has created, see, I believe that we are in a process of actually finding that feminine role again, or that understanding of that nurturing, loving, holding space for the family. Like I feel that women are, you know, the central hub of the family, and that we hold space for our warrior men, so that our men can be the ones that are out there taking action. We're the ones that are holding space for them and being creative and giving them that creative energy and that creative space to take the action. Not that we can't take action, because we've got that in ourselves as well, but being a feminine body, being an energy, an energetic being of feminine, we need to be embracing that and feeling comfortable with that. And as I've got here on the webinar, you know, being in grace and moving between the two, the masculine and the feminine, with intuition. And that's when the three powers come in, right? Which is, if anyone has been following me for a while, you know that the three powers is the foundation of the work that I do with my clients. And so when you get caught in the power and powerless, you actually find yourself, yeah, Julie, it is hard to balance the act sometimes, right? Because it's a moment by moment. And we often find ourselves, especially in today's society, we often find ourselves constantly in action in the masculine. And it's a learned behavior, to tell you the truth, in today's society, to stop, breathe, pause, and sit in our feminine, to allow life to happen instead of trying to be the orchestrator of it. You've got to find that balance of the two, or you can't create. What happens is, because you haven't had that time, if you can hear my little niece in the background, that's a ball of energy, I tell you. If you, now I've forgotten because she's so joyful. I was going to say, if you don't give yourself that time to stop and process and release, you know, like, and reflect on what's happening, then the masculine will constantly be going and is taking you on a ride that might not be where you want it to go, because you haven't had that time to stop and be the conscious creator and decide, what is it that I want? What's my divine being telling me to do? My intuition? What is it that I need to move forward with my own inner desires? And then take the action of the masculine and do those things. But you can't, if you're just constantly going, that's where overwhelm happens, which is one of the webinars that I did prior, how to deal with overwhelm, because I was there not that long ago. And it's because life was taking me and I was just actioning because I had to. Where my mum was in hospital, and like I was, there was just so much going on, and I didn't give myself the chance to stop and go, wait a minute, what do I want in my life? What can I let go of? What is the standards and expectations of society? What are my standards and expectations? Let's stop, sit, and find that balance, and then make the choices where I'm going to move forward from there. And I made choices. I told my family where I'm at, and doesn't mean things have really changed. They've changed in my mind. And here I am. Mum's just been taken in an ambulance back to the hospital after only being out for 2 days. And I'm sitting here with you guys because I'm past the overwhelm and stress of it. I know what's happening. I know that there is a decline happening. I'm aware. I'm making sure that I'm being the beautiful, loving daughter, and that I've had time. What a blessing that I've got time to reflect with her, to actually process any angst with her, all of those things that I can do, which I didn't have with my dad, because he just went suddenly without us realizing. And so, you know, I know that she's going. How long that will take, I don't know, but I'm okay because I'm doing everything I can, and I'm being there for her as much as I possibly can through the process. And so it's that beautiful balance of finding time to reflect. What do I need? What's my intuition saying? Sorry, I just got a phone call. I think it was a hospital. We're just going to have to deal with it. I'm nearly finished. And so, you know, having that time to reflect, decide what's going on, and then move forward again. In the process of that, you find your boundaries. And sometimes in the process of that, you have righteous anger while you're working through all of that, and you need to allow that to happen, because righteous anger can come from both masculine and feminine. It's not just a warrior energy. Feminine energy has the warrior energy in it as well. They definitely want to speak to me. So I'm going to just finish up here. So being a woman in today's world is about being gentle with yourself and others, being patient and holding space, allowing yourself to have the boundaries that you know you need. And this is what I teach in my 12-week online program. We're just about to finish. We've got 12 women, actually we've got 15 women going through the process, and we're on the last week this week. We've got a couple of coaching calls after that just to finish off. But this is all of the processing of finding that balance of the two, so that you can hold space for yourself as well as others. And the more you find yourself in that place of being empowered, the more, the bigger your boundary circle and the more room in your cup. So when my cup overflows, I know that there's something pretty serious going on, because my cup's pretty big. I've got quite a big cup that can fit a lot in it, because I don't hold on to, when you stay in empowered, as much as, like, we're always going to be in powerless. We're always going to play the game of masculine and feminine, and finding that balance. That's what we're here for. That creates growth. And so they really want me. I'm gonna finish off as soon as I can. So it's finding that balance of the two, and coming from a place of intuition, so that you know that you're being guided all the way through. So if you're on the webinar and you have never connected with me before, check the QR code here. It will take you to my business page, which is Elizabeth Eleanor, the Spiritual Warrior, and you'll be able to connect with me there. Please finish now. Go to your mum. Yes, I'm finishing now. She's all right. It's just not the hospital. It's a nurse that usually comes to her, and she's not here. So it's all good. I would not be doing this if mum was in jeopardy. So it's all good. And so if you want to find out more of that balance and finding the connection between the two, then put yes please in the comments, and you can have a 30-minute complimentary chat with me. I do have about 10 of them a month, and I do know that there's a few left. So if you're interested in having a chat and finding how to balance those two, masculine and feminine, please just put yes please in the comments, and we'll be able to chat more. And on the 15th of August, which is this Saturday, I'm going to be running my first ever half-day workshop, Listen to Your Inner Voice, which is all related to what we're talking about now. And yeah, we'll be going through more of what we've discussed here. So thank you everyone on the webinar. And I will send you the replay. So I'm going to stop the share right now, and I'm going to stop the recording.